All right. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for joining our free online lesson. My name is Nabil Fikri bin Shaizan and I am an application engineer in AutoCAD systems. Right, so for today's topics, I would like to share you about the insert and imports in AutoCAD. So there are multiple things that you can insert and import into AutoCAD. So we're going to go through some of those things and some of these steps that you can do to import. Right, basically this is the agenda for today. Oops, yes. Right, so basically this is the agenda for today. So the first thing is we're going to take a look at the insert block, right? Right, so we're going to insert block from the outside of the outsource of the file. Then we're going to import using the external reference. Then we're going to import PDF. And also maybe you want to import another non-native CAD file such as stat files. Lastly will be the geolocation, which can insert the Google map inside of AutoCAD. So let me just change it to the AutoCAD. All right. So the first thing that I would like to do here is that I would like to import using the insert command, right, which is the insert block. So you can see the block over here. So we have the inserts. So if you want to have more options that you from here, you can go to the insert tab over here, and then you have these inserts and some of these creation tools for these blocks, right? So you can create your own blocks. Maybe you want to edit the blocks, define attributes, and so on and so forth. You can just go over here and you can find some of these blocks. But for this case, we are not going to create a block, so we're going to insert block. So for this case, if I click inserts, I already have some of these block, which is cabinets, chairs, so on. So this is the items which is actually part of this object. Now let's say, right, so I only have this particular object. Let's say if I want to add more blocks from the outside outsource of this files, outside of these files. So I can go to the block from libraries from here. Right, so block library, and it will pop up this block library, which is over here. Then you can find from here. So we have current drawing, research. One thing that you want to go through is these libraries over here. And from here, you can find the list of already created blocks. Of course, this is not what we want. So to do that, you can just go over here, or you can also click at the right top here, which is the browse. Right, so you can use these to browse others objects, right? Other drawing files, which you can find blocks from that. For example, let's say if I push this one, and I would like to open a block drawing over here. So over here we have multiple types of blocks. Right, so we have some chairs, some machines, and if I go to the insert over here, so we have this particular block. Now I would like to insert these blocks into my building samples over here. So I'll go back to the inserts, block from library, and then from here I can select browse, or I can just drop down, click browse from libraries from here, and find the location of your folder. So this is this one for my case. And I will select this block drawing over here. So you can see this is a small icon preview over here. If I click open, it will put down all of the blocks that we have on this previous drawing. Right, so let's say if I would like to insert a phone, so I can just click phones, and there are multiple options that you can find from here. Now, if I click insertion options, it's allowing me to select and put the phone anywhere where I want. So you can see my phone is a bit smaller because this is actually different scales, right? So I can just put the phone over here. So if I would like to change the scales, I can just stick the scale over here, and I can make sure if I just click over here, so I can just drop down, and when I'm inserting the scale, I can allow me to scale manually. But if I don't want, I can just uncheck insert scales, and I can insert the scale value from here. Let's say I want to be 1.5 bigger, right? So I can just double click and it's become a little bit bigger compared to the original, right? So that is the insertion points where you can insert your own points. Once it's inserted, if I close this one, I click and then you can see it is becoming normal lines. That's the reason why, because I left the explode button checked on. So let me just go again over here. I have this explode button. So if you don't want to import this as a block, you can just check the explodes, and then we'll insert this as a normal lines. Right. So I believe we already have some computers or something over here. So let me just put another command. Let's say the sketch logo over here, right? And I click here. All right. So there are some dimension over here. So let me just go with different block. Let's say copy machines. And this copy machine, I don't want to explode, so I just uncheck, and the size will be around 3 times bigger. And I can just insert this copy machine right over here, and it will include this as a block instead. Right, so if I close this one, I check at the insert, and then you will see my copy machine is now being added, so I can just reuse this without going into the block from that place. Right, so I believe including the phone as well. Right, so the phone so included the ones that I have into the phone. But what if I would like to insert the entire drawing? For example, well, to open this building over here, I would like to insert the side of this building over here, and I want to look to insert this as a block, right? So I can also copy these sketches. So I can just select everything and select Control C, or you can find from home. We have this clipboard over here, which you can select copy and paste, which is cut and copy, right? So, or I can just select and Control C, come over here, and I can press Control V, and I can insert this drawing right over here. And I can see it is now has been inserted. Other methods is that you don't necessarily need to open this drawing as well. Also can is by insert this as a block, right? So you can see we have this wire, this polylines, so on. So it's separate drawing, separate sketches. So if I would like to insert this as a block, so again I can go to the inserts. Now this is not actually a block, but if I go into the block from the rig, and then I open it up, which is my which is stretch. So this one, this office over here. Then if I click opens, we have this of the block, and it's also automatically create all of the drawing into a block. So any drawing that you created, when you try to import it as a block, automatically it will compile everything at the top of here. So if I just click over here, it will bring me this block inside my drawing. So this is a bit high. Let me just reduce a bit. And since I click the insertion points, it's turned on. When I click, it's allowing me to put anywhere where I want. But if I want to insert based on this coordinate, I can also input the coordinate over here. Right, so for this case, I'm just going to leave it as 0 coordinates. I can just double click, and the block has been inserted over here. All right, so that is a bit on the block from libraries. So the next method is to insert as a reference, which is what we call as external reference. So to do that, you can find the reference panel over here, or you can type command XREF, stand for external reference. So let me just turn on my learning inputs. So the command is XREF, stand for external reference. Then you can find from here, or from the insert itself, you can find this reference over here. So we have the attach and some editing tools for the reference. If I would like to attach, I can just click attach, and it will allow me to attach. But the best way is that if you open up the external reference panels, So again, you can tap extract, or you can also click at this small icon over here, small arrow over here, and it will open up this external reference. From here, we can click at the attached drawings, right? So we have multiple types of file that we can attach. Maybe I want to add more drawings, right? For example, if I have this reference, let me just detach this one. And I have this drawing over here. I would like to insert a file from another drawing as a reference. For example, this quick measure over here. I would like to import it into the extract. So I can just pick here, attach drawings, and I can find this quick measure, and I can open it up. And same again, you can specify the points, the scale, the insertion points. You can just basically specify the position and also the size based on it. So if you want to put it as a default, so just leave it unchecked, and I can just press OK, and it's automatically input based on the point that you have selected. Right. So from here, let's say I already inserted as a external reference. If I click over here, this is not part of my drawings. If I would like to bring some of these items into my X reference drawings, one item from the quick measure reference over here, I would like to bring this icon over here. So I can click over here and I can edit the reference in place, which allow me to edit this drawing if I want. So I cannot edit this drawing because currently I open up this drawing file, so I need to close this one first. Let me just close this, and I can select again, and I can edit this particular reference. And I can basically draw many things if I want to. Let's say if I draw some lines over here, for example, and this particular drawing, I would like to bring it into my extra drawing. So I can click this option over here, and I can go to this reference over here. I can select remove from working set. Basically, it's removing from the original reference file, which is the quick measure drawing over here. Removing, so you can see it is now blurry. And I will save the change. And you will see the reference file has been edited, the editing that you have done before, and then this file is now become part of your original extract drawing. It's no longer a reference file. So that is some of the things that you can do with the external reference. So you can attach image as well. So you can select, maybe I want to attach an image with your company logo, for example. So you can just attach from here. However, external files, extract, is just a reference. It's linking the original file to your drawings, right? Basically just a link, does not insert into your drawing. So if I insert this as a reference, this image, if somehow I will lose my image, which is at the, let me just open my files, this is the location of my file. You can see I have some images, which is here, and some of these drawings. So the reference file, if you lose this, and then you try to open up this file that you have referenced into, the file will be likely missing, right? So that is the downside of reference. Right, so if I would like to insert image as an image, not as a reference like here, so what I can do is that I can still use copy and paste, and I can paste it inside of the AutoCAD. But I cannot directly copy from here. For example, I have this image. If I try to copy and paste from here, it does not work like that. Right? So it still become a reference. So what to do is that you need to edit this image first. So let me just open it with Microsoft Paint, and I can select everything, and I would like to copy this image. Okay, open up my drawing, and then I can just Control V to paste it right over here. So it's now become its own image inside of the AutoCAD drawing. So you don't need to have this original drawings to be present into the folders, right? Because this now become part of the one. So the only downward here is that the size will be a little bit increased because you have inserted an image. Right, so let me just save this and let me just close. Let's see what happens if I try to move this image away and I try to reopen back my drawing. Right, so I believe I open up this, and then you will see because I've moved these drawings, the image is now become missing. Right, but since I copy this one is still available because it is part of this drawing file. Right, so that is the attach. Right, so you can attach some of the files such as PDF or DWF. Right, so if I attach PDF, it's allowing you to select the page of your PDF. Let's say I just pick the first page, and right, so I don't see here because probably it's hiding somewhere. You just open a new one, and I can open up here the first one. Right, so you can see it's automatically inserting the files. Right, so this is actually a PDF, but you cannot do much from here, right? Because this is a reference file. There are other ways that are allowing you to edit this PDF into the AutoCAD. Now, for example, if I open up one of my PDF, I also have a PDF which has some lines, right? Some sketches over here. So you can see this is a PDF. I can also import it and allowing me to edit this. In order to do that, so again, I'm going to go to the insets. Instead of using the external reference, you can go to the PDF import over here. Right, so if you don't find it, you just drop down and you can select PDF import. And I can select, let's say I'm going to select Stretch Office. You can open up, select OK, and you will see it is now adding these files. It's converting PDF into lines, polylines, some circles, arc, and so on. Okay. So you can see you can also import the PDF as AutoCAD file, right? Right. So that is some PDF. Maybe you want to insert some points, clouds, right? So which is the 3D scanning objects, or maybe some files from Navisworks, right? So that is coordination models. So for example, let's say if I would like to add Navisworks files as a reference, so I can just click over here, add coordination model. So I can just click this, and it will insert these files from the Navisworks file. So this is not actually a 3D files. This is a Navisworks files, right? So you cannot actually edit this, but as a reference. So that is a bit on the external reference. Right. So you can see here you can play around there to edit the reference. So we can take a look on the import. So another thing that you can also import is that you can go into the import button over here, and then you have multiple types of files that you can import. So if I go into the file of type, so I can insert outsource files such as from the maybe 3D modeling, such as from the CATIA files, or maybe SolidWorks files, stat files, and so on. Right? Maybe I want to import inventor files, so I can just import and open up inventor files, and I can click close, and now it's converting. So you can see at the bottom over here, it's importing progress. So once the process has been done, it's giving you the links that you can click. So, or you can just close this, and you can just right click and select insert form. So once you click and select inserts, it's inserting that files as a block. So let me just move this aside. Yeah, okay, so I'll probably become smaller. All right, so you can see it is now become a block. So if I go into the insert block over here, I can also still use, right? Yes, you can also create 3D model, and you can create as a block also can. Right, so if I want to see clearly, I can just change from wireframe to shaded, maybe shaded with edges, and you can see your 3D model much more clearly. right? So that is importing, right? So you can import other non-native CAD files, right? Maybe I want to import from stat files. Oops, so you can just find stat file from here, and I can import this close, and it will generate process from here. Just right click to select insert, and now you have inserting these files inside of the AutoCAD. Right, so that is how you insert 3D model from other source into AutoCAD. Right, and lastly about the inserting and imports. Let's say if you want to insert as a 3D, if you want to insert as a map, right? So for that case, you have this location over here, which you can insert from. So you can just drop down and then you can select from map or from files. So if you have the files KML, so you can just pick and open up. For my case, I don't have the file. I can select from the map and it will open up from the Google Maps and allowing you to add that location inside of AutoCAD. So let me just open it up. And you will see this geographic location is being shown from here, right? So you can just click and try to move to the location, or you can also directly click this button over here, which allowing you to move, right? So it will find your location. So if I click allow, so this is basically the location that I have, right? And let's say if I want to move to other location, let me just move it. So I'm gonna select and add map from Langkawi, and I'm going to select, let's say, somewhere around here, right? So let's say somewhere around here. Now I cannot click next. So the reason why you need to have a latitude and also longitude first, and then you can proceed. So in order to do that, you can just right click and add pins, drop the markers, and then this marker will represent the latitude and longitude. So you can move it around and then it can show you this based on the value that you move. Now I want to move right over here. You can also change your view. Maybe I don't want to see realistic view, photographic view from here. Maybe I want only to see a standard road map. So it will show you something. All right, so I'm going to select around here, and then I can select next. And then from here, you need to select your based on your GIS coordinate location. For this case, let me just select the Malaya, and don't forget to set your time. All right, so once done, press next, and I can select the location by clicking anywhere, and then it will ask you for the angles. So this is allowing to rotate that map. For my case, I want the map to show the way that I have seen before. I don't want it to rotate. I can just press enter. Right, so it's loading a little bit, and then you will start to see your map is now become a part of the AutoCAD. So give it a little bit of time, a bit, right? It's now load. Let me just close my reference from here. Then you can see the map is now has been inputted inside your AutoCAD. So you can just zoom in around over here, and I don't want to be the entire files of my drawing to put a map over here. So for this case, I want to show only around this area. So I can go to the online map over here. I can capture the area, let's say from here to here. It's the area that I would like to see only. Right, it's already captured, and the map I can just close it from here. I can just turn the map off, then you will see only this area that we have selected. Right, so you can use this as a reference to draw. So maybe I can just go to the home and draw some roads, probably. Right, so I'll just use this as reference. Right, so maybe I want to draw a block or lines. Right, so I have this road that I have created based from my map that I have inserted. Right, so again, if you want to turn back the map on, so I can just turn the map on from here. Now, if I don't want to see this anymore, so you can also remove location, or I can just also temporarily hide this map. So I can just click, right click, and select isolate and hide the object. So right now I see the only object that I drawn inside of my object. Right, so that is basically the inserts and imports into the AutoCAD that I want to show you. Right, so that is all for today. So if anyone have any question, you can just type me on the chat, or you can also unmute yourself. So I will stay here a little bit before we end the session. Right, so far, is there any question that you'd like to ask about the session for today? Right, so just a bit fast forwards. So we have gone through with the insert over here. Right, so you can also find insert from the block, but this is only for the block D. So if you are more way to insert and add, you can just go to the inserts, and you can find block insert using the block, or you can insert using reference files. Right, and you can also import it, copies, and lastly, you can also add a map inside here. Right, so we have some questions. Can you import from Revit? Right, so I believe if you want to import a 3D model, you need to find the file from here. Import, and then you file. If there are Revit file, you should be able to import Revit. So I'm aware that inventors able to import from Revit, but for this case, let me see if it's already added. So I don't see any Revit from here, so I believe the Revit file is not yet available from for the AutoCAD, I believe. Right, so if you want to import from Revit into the AutoCAD, so you can always convert it, that Revit files into, let's say, step files or maybe IGS, then you can import it into AutoCAD. Right, so I believe there are no more questions that you would like to ask. Right, so if there are no more questions, I would like to end the session for today. All right, so the last question, we have import from SolidWorks. Yes, if you take a look at the import from here, and then the file of type, so you will find the SolidWorks file, right? So yes, you can import file from SolidWorks.